Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. Yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book professionals. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. And once again, I got this dude on here. I don't know why I keep bringing him back, but I do.
What's up, Streamland? I don't know why I keep coming back. I guess, I got nothing better to do. The Oscars is on. There's no football. I might as well hang out with this guy for a little bit. Talk comic books with people that are actually putting their money where their mouth is, believing in themselves, and putting together some kick-ass projects right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if people ever understood the level of bullshit that we're talking right now, it'd be crazy. What's up, Mike? How you doing?
What's going on, man? I can't follow up that kind of intro, man.
So please just introduce yourself, Mike.
Mike Marshall. I am writer, editor, and owner of War Dance Comics.
Awesome. And Mike is our co-host for the night.
Way to be, Mike.
There you go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Ryan Kroboth. I'm one of the co-creators of Worst in Mayhem.
All right, cool.
I'm going to keep it short.
All right. That's fair.
Hey, I'm John Edingfield II. I am the other part of the creators of Worst in Mayhem.
Cool.
I'm Ed Davis. I'm the creator of Finish Line Comics, where we publish 2 series right now, Immortal Era and Corruptor. And yeah, we're working on our 9th issue of Immortal Era and soon to be 2nd issue of Corruptor.
Nice.
Oh, I remember when I had 2 series. Those were the days. The good old days. I am Travis Gibb. I am a founder of Orange Cone Productions. We have a bunch of series on there, but right now I'm promoting my series Coins of Judas from Bands of Bard, which is a publisher that hired me to do stuff, and they have a Kickstarter for me right now.
Nice. All right, cool. All right, gentlemen. So I guess all of you have seen the title of this show. There's this son of a bitch named Perch. No, I'm only joking. He's a good guy. This guy owns Perch. He has his own channel, good channel. But he was asked a question by one of his show fans, and the question is Perch? I mean, I'm fucking this up. Sorry, but the question is are crowdfunding comic books bad? Right, but the real question that the guy was asking, really, that wasn't the question. The question was, is the process bad? Because he gets upset that he buys a book and he has to wait for an exorbitant amount of time to receive the product, right? And that's what he was really upset about. Okay, not so much that the books are bad or whatever. He wasn't talking about the quality of the books. He was actually referring to that process. You buy a book, you got to wait to the end of the campaign, then you got to wait for the creator to put it together. Some creators are quick, like myself. I know Travis, Jay, some others I know are pretty quick at putting it together. Some others take some time. You understand? So it's all built in, right? So so that's the question. What do you guys think of that process? And what do you think we can do to improve it? Right? Because that's the real issue. How can we improve that process? Right? Travis, you the man. You put out 20 of these a year.
Wow.
What do you think?
Well, Percy, he's always causing some drama on the internet. I didn't know you were so easily swayed, but that's the first thing you got to address.
Right.
I do think a lot of comics on Kickstarter are shit. I'm going to be honest. But I think they're supposed to be. I really do. I think that your Kickstarter's for people who have a dream and want to get at stuff, and then there's people who level up and want to build it to the next level. I think it's supposed to be that. And then, the people who continue to do this over and over again and continue to fund, they've found an audience and they've continued to build and grow. And then the people aren't, they haven't found that audience, or their book needs some work, whatever the case would be. Going into the process is a whole different thing. That's a whole different ball of wax,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure you've got those late night, hey, how do you put a comic together? Because you help them with their first campaign and you're like, oh, you're one of those. We're not even there yet. Hey, do you know a letterer? Yes, but why are we talking about that now? That should have been way done. So I think there's a lot of education on that. And there's not a lot of places to get an education, at least not a free education, which I think a lot of people want, right? They want a free education. They don't want to pay Comic Experience or Mr. Kubert, because he doesn't have enough money. He needs more. I don't know if I answered your question. I know I rambled for a bit, but I'm not sure if I answered it.
That's fine. I mean, you did well, as they say.
right.
Ryan, what are your thoughts?
So, I mean, I back a lot of Kickstarters, and the weight on them doesn't really bother me too much, because to me, I look at it like I come home and I never know what Kickstarter is going to hit my mailbox. So I just have like a random package sitting there, and I'm like, let's see which one it is today. Tear it open, and then it goes on the pile, and I read it 7 months later.
Nice. I resemble that remark. Yes. John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's similar, I guess, to Ryan. I mean, I am the same. I back a lot of Kickstarters, and I know going into the process that there's going to be a wait. As indie creators, we're creating something that is, kind of a vanity product, right? It's not like a mass marketed thing. It's something that we're putting all of our time and energy into. So it takes time to get it done, and our fans know that. The people that are backing our projects know that. It's people that are looking in and not understanding how Kickstarter works, or even how crowdfunding in general works, are the ones that are kind of complaining about it takes too long.
All right. That's fair. Ed, what are your thoughts?
For me, when I do a Kickstarter, I want to make sure that everything in the book is done so that it can get sent out quickly and people get the book. I mean, it's slower than walking into a comic shop to get it, but I want to make sure that every bit of the process is done. Kickstarters, I mean, you're taking a gamble when you back one, because I'd say only about 80% I backed action figures and board games, and the company then disappears from all their social media and they're just gone. So I think it's not just comic books, it's whatever you're backing on calculated risk. And I've backed, $200 action figures and never got anything. And then, the person just disappears from the earth. So you just have to know, when you back a Kickstarter, if you have someone you trust, it may take a little while, but you'll get it. And then otherwise you just cross your fingers and hope.
CJ, that's one of the guys you screwed over. Give him back his money, bro.
You put me out there like that. I haven't done the Kickstarter for the toy yet, dude.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I saw you walking around with all that money the other day.
I got a mortgage. Come on, man.
Mike, what are your thoughts?
I actually have an answer for both sides of that, like the actual product itself being produced and then the function of making the product. For me, this was totally passion project, trying to do it all myself. I tried to do a bunch of research and realized I still went in and didn't know shit. The process of it was a living fucking nightmare, but I love the project, so I'm doing it, and I'm still just as passionate for it to get it done. But it is fucking hard, and I feel like a lot of people do not understand that, just like I didn't when I went into it. And people that sit there and bitch about certain movies and things like that, and they don't truly understand the process that goes into it and how much was actually put into that. They just turn around and be like, oh, that was shit, this is a shitty actor, this is a shitty writer, or whatever. And it's like, that can be heartbreaking. That's something that this person, worked on and loved for years. But going into the product aspect of it, or transitioning into that, it's subjective. It's an art form. It's, you may not like what I put out or what someone else puts out, and, someone else may love it. Like, there's something out there for everyone. So just to say a blanket statement of, is it bad or is most of it bad? If you think that it is, it may just be mostly shit you don't like specifically, but there could be other things that people love. Like, I love JD's work, but a lot of people don't like high fantasy with a mouse, shit like that. But I love his books. I grew up with crap like that, and I love it, So yeah, I think that the product itself, saying that, most of it's bad, isn't truly fair. It's just subjective, and you can have that opinion. The process, definitely we got to do something about it. It's bad. It's hard. It's hard friggin' work, man. There's a lot of shit that you run into that you didn't even know you didn't know, you know?
Mm-hmm. A lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Look, you see that guy sitting next to you? That guy right there? You can see the stress lines on his face, bro. That's how you know it's hard. Go ahead, Jay. What do you got?
So when we say there's bad comic books on Kickstarter, are you referring to something like
you specifically?
Nightblood, the avenging sword of glory, spelled with a Y instead of an I, and where the cape as the U.S. flag with all these pouches is not a good book on Kickstarter?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Did you say the glory wasn't spelt with a Y? Is that what just happened?
I don't know how many times I've seen a book like that reproduced many times over, right? And a lot of those things don't make it past issue number. All right. So when it comes to those of us who are shopping there, right, there's certain telltale signs. If a book is making it, past the third issue to fourth issue, all right, something is trending here, all right? The person's kind of figured out, maybe it's somewhat what they're doing. The story may be interesting for them to get this far. So maybe something you want to put some money into. But yeah, are there bad things out there? Of course, but there's bad things on the shelves too, when you go to your comic book shop. So, pick your poison, right? There's bad things at Barnes and Nobles too. So when it comes to the wait time, Tom said it in the comment right there. A lot of us are a hell of a lot faster than the 3 or 4 month turnaround. And I don't know why people complain about the wait time when I'm sure they weren't complaining about it when the Image books were coming around, right? And they're still buying books today. They were probably buying the books back then also. Are they complaining about Batman Gargoyle of Gotham, which is coming out every 4 months, right? So whatever, it comes down to pick your poison. It's like shut the fuck up. Spend your money on something else if you don't like it. Plain and simple.
Terrible. Anyway,
why is it terrible, bro? People complain about the stupidest shit. I'm fucking tired of it, bro. You know what I mean? It's just
my thing is this is look, we're all adults, right? Uh-huh. It's one thing, not if you're just coming in and you're brand new, that's one thing, right? Some of us are seasoned. Travis is seasoned. Jay is seasoned. I'm seasoned. Ryan, John, we're seasoned. Ed, I don't know. I'm just meeting you for the first time.
He's at issue 9. He's seasoned. He's at issue 9. Season.
Oh, okay. So there you go. So I mean, we've been doing it for a while, so we're prepared. Like we know what we need to do to get a book done. So it's imperative that we try our best to get it done right every time, and it's also imperative for us to try to prep the guys who are coming in, right? I've tried. Mike's has had some issues. Right, but he's working his way through them. No, there's nothing wrong with it.
A bunch of times about it too, man. He's helped me out.
The thing is, though, is it's like Travis said. Nobody's first book is good. Your first comic probably was really bad. That's just a fact of life. Because anything you do the first time is not going to be that good. The first time you picked up a pencil and you drew something at the age of 5, it sucked. You were a kid. Everybody was willing to let it go. But if you do that today as an adult, you understand they're going to tell you, well, you got to keep practice. You got to keep working at it, right? You got to put in your 10,000 hours or whatever it is, 1,000 pages, 1,000,000 words, whatever the case is, it's practice. So you just got to keep going for it, keep practicing, keep going for it. But
the first time you had sex, you probably weren't good. Many people don't even get to those 10,000 hours, though.
Yeah. Jay, please don't do it, bro, because I got such filth to say. I got such horrible things to say.
Listen, the missus knows I've been around the block, baby.
I mean, I know you hung out a lot in Chelsea, but anyway. But seriously though, I mean, it's up to us. But I think the key to the process is trying to get your books done before time. And then just trying to cut down that wait time as much as possible, and just streamline the system as much as possible. You know, that's the only thing I think any of us can do as creators. So Jay, you're up, sir. What's your question?
All right, so you're heading on this path. We're always learning. We're always trying to figure it out. How far into your creative journey did you start being able to figure things out? Right? When did the pieces start to click for you? Like, oh, all right, I'm getting the hang of this.
Interesting, Ryan. What do you
Oh
thoughts?
man, I was supposed to have it figured out by now.
You never will. You never will. But when did things start to click for you?
I feel like it was probably closer to putting the second issue together. Like the first issue, the learning curve of comics feels like it's a sheer cliff straight up. And you do a lot of stupid stuff that costs you a lot of time in the long run. I had an instructor that taught me something, like the way they phrased it is like you develop scars, and basically like you burn yourself some way and you try not to repeat those same things until you kind of get yourself your own little process down. And I feel like after my second issue too, I learned that I didn't want to do all the stuff. Like I tried to do lettering and I did everything else. And at some point I was like, nope, let somebody else take care of the stuff I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. John, what are your thoughts?
It's similar. I mean, Ryan goes first. The answers for both of us, but no, it was it was in my issue 2 of Rancid, though. I actually hired a colorist and a letterer, but it wasn't until I ran my anthology, I think, that it really clicked when I was trying to herd cats with all the creative pieces that were involved in that, and then it kind of, after I got through that, it was like, this finally makes some sense, you know.
All right, cool. Ed, what are your thoughts on that?
I think for me, it took about 3 issues to get a comfortable feeling, and then everything got destroyed when I put my books into a trade and had to reformat the pages. And here I thought, okay, cool. I've released these books. I've released 6 issues. Piece of cake. Let's throw those into a hardcover, and everything was fucked up. They're like, okay, you're losing 30% of your page. So when you think you know, you realize you don't. So I guess you're never comfortable, and there's always something that can mess it up.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Travis, what are you thinking?
I'm still no, I've always been great, Jay. I'm glad you bring this up because I'm a once in a generation talent, you know. You know, it's good that someone asks a question so I can express just how talented I am.
I set you up like volleyball. You know what I mean? There you go. It's all yours, baby. Take
the spiking.
Yeah, it's always a challenge, right? Because, you know, though I've got a lot of it figured out, you know, I'm to the point now where I'm actively choosing to not do things, right? Like, hey, nudies are doing really well right now. Just add some nudes to your books. It's not that hard, right? Like, you're not a prude. I'm not a prude. I can add a couple. Like, you're gonna add that NSW right on the top, and you'll get a few extra bucks. And I can't do it. Like, so there's now I'm making, you know, exceptions for art, you know, so there's all these things that we learn as we go. I think the question is, I think every time you think you know it, things change, right? We'll have, you know, I think a lot of people right now in Kickstarter world, you know, if we're being honest, a lot of people had the pandemic money and they saw their campaigns blow up and they're like, oh my God, I've got this. And now they're getting back to the normal numbers. Well, I've been here since like 2018, 2019. I know what these numbers look like. That doesn't bother me at all because I knew it was an influx. But I see so many creators just, oh my God, my stuff sucks. It's horrible. And I was like, no, it's not like that. It's just the world has changed. And now you got to find your true fan base. You know, what does that look like? And it's okay. It's all growth and trying to figure that out.
That's fair. Mike, what are you thinking?
As far as like when did shit fall into place for me, I honestly don't even think it has yet. I'm still figuring things out. Every time I feel like I got something, like the writing aspect, I've written like my whole life. I had this script for this entire series, beginning, middle, and end, for years now. Like that was super easy. And to me, I honestly figured that was going to be the hardest part, right? find a good artist, this and that. I happen to have adopted one. And I figured that was going to be the hardest part. Like, we got this, we nailed this. And every time I've put myself in that position where I think that I got this, I don't have shit. And like, everything's pulled out from under me. Like, I don't think I've actually gotten to a point to where everything's fallen into place. I'm still kind of like grabbing things and putting them into place where I feel this makes sense, where they should go from what I've learned, but it hasn't fully hit it. Like, I don't know. I'm too shy to be able to like say that now that like things have fallen into place, even though I do have great news or some big shit being developed, but I don't want to jinx it, like I'm kind of gun shy with that now. Like, I don't want to jinx it and say like, yeah, man, everything's falling in place. I'm doing it. I'm cranking it out. I don't want to say that until I've cranked it out. Like, once it's out there, then I can go, okay, this is when I knew shit was up, Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
What about you, Calderon?
See, I have a secret weapon, and that secret weapon is Daphne. She got her shit together, so bam, there it is. So I'll be able to just like be like, could you please do this for me? I'll buy you dinner. Disney World is coming. So yeah, I promise vacations and food. I get stuff done. It's incredible. No, I mean, but seriously though. It's a learning process, I mean, do you ever really get it down, right? I mean, I've been writing since I was 8 years old, and I'm always learning, always looking for I'm always looking to learn from somebody. You understand? I mean, it could be a brand new creator, it doesn't matter. You understand? They could have a new thought or a new spin on something. It was like, never seen that before. So it's interesting to see that sort of thing going on. Same thing going with the old cats. You look at some of these old cats, they come up with something new. You're like, holy shit, they've been working on it for the last 3 years. They come up with something. You're like, oh, never thought of it like that. And it gives you inspiration to like, go off in your own tangents and maybe apply that to your own work in some way. And then even when it comes on dealing with art, when you're dealing with different artists, I've been dealing with pretty much the same crew for the last a couple of people for 12 years and some others for 4 or 5 years. But, you as you add people to the crew, you start to learn new things, so I always find that interesting. But yeah, but I don't ever think, it's like saying, does it ever get easy? And the answer is no. There's always, if you're going to build a house, you still got to do it one brick at a time. And if you're lifting those bricks and setting that mortar yourself, you got to do what you got to do, and it's never going to be easy, but it is rewarding and it is fun. So, yeah. Mr. J, answer your own question.
Making comic books, I think, is the eternal world of the Monday morning quarterback, right? You don't really get to see the mistakes until your book comes back from the printer. You think you've got it all said and done, and then once it's in hand, you're like, oh, okay, this is where I should have worked on this instead of that, and you learn these lessons. And then, like Ed said, once you start to put that first trade together, you're like, holy shit, I really needed to work on these things as well at the same time. So, yes, it is that constant process. But I think once you get that first book back, you get to do that self-evaluation. And you can either, all right, I'm done. I've made it, haha, right? Or you can do the real work, which is actually try to sell the book. And everybody knows making the comic is the easy part. Trying to sell that SOP, that's where the real fun is.
Well, that's not necessarily true, because I've seen plenty of people who can sell their books and do a very good job of selling their books, and they're not very good books.
Yeah. So
I'm right here, man. How are you going to be talking about me like
that? I just did my taxes. I sent my taxes to my wife, and we do Square, and it said 297, I think, swipes, which sounds like a lot, but when you think of how many people have walked by me in cons during a year process, my percentage turnover is like less than 1%, right? Because I got a mega con and went to Baltimore. Like, we went to huge cons, so not so good, really.
So I got a question for you on that, Travis, because I was thinking about this also. Is it because of the volume of people, or the enormity of the space, and there's so much to do, it's harder for you to grab. Yet, if you flip it for a smaller show, it's easier for you to grab people, right? So your average would maybe go up on a smaller show than it would on a bigger show. I mean,
Yeah, it is. And then for me, I stopped just grabbing people because I want to retain readers. So I'm a decent salesman. So if I grab someone with the right t-shirt, like I know I got a 50-50 shot, right? If they're into something that I like, I can get it. But I'm never going to see that guy again. I'd rather get the guy with the big long box, right? Who just got a signing. Hey, what did you get signed? Bring that guy over. Oh, this guy's a long-term comic reader. Like, I want him to buy my book. I don't want this guy who's just going to buy it, who's never going to see me again, who's probably not going to buy it, much like me, who's bought a whole bunch of things. I'll pay you $10 to leave me alone. Like, I've done that. I think everybody's done that at con, right? Like, do I have a 10 in my pocket? That's fine. Leave me alone. Let's go. I really want to retain that reader, so I do a lot less like just hustling the book until Sunday, right? And then I'm like, no, we spent too much on Saturday night.
Oh, fire sale, dude. Sunday is fire sale. But then it could also be the show, right? Yeah. First show I did last year was Awesome Con. And, it was DC, and I was what the fuck is going on here, right? They were saying there was 75,000 people at the event, and we were not seeing that on the floor. We were definitely not seeing that in sales. Yet the opposite I felt held true for New York Comic Con. 250,000 people, and we just couldn't stop to even take a breath, So sometimes it's the show that keeps your smokes down.
Real quick, I don't know what the hell is wrong with this thing on my side, but it keeps double commenting whatever I'm commenting to the friggin' people in the chat. It keeps double. That's me. And I'm sorry I'm spamming the chat.
That's all right. But Mike, you're up. What's your question?
Oh shit. Okay. So
how do you not spam chats?
My question is, what the fuck is wrong with our chat? No. All right. So I have, in my process of hitting brick walls and whatnot and having to start over, I reach out to a lot of people, a lot of other creators and whatnot, because I value everyone's input who's been doing this longer than me. I'm not that guy with my head in my ass. I'm going to do it myself. I thought I could, and I realized I can't. And that's part of the growth process. But there's a lot of things where I'm like, damn, I never even thought about that. Right. So for you guys who've been doing it, because I figured I'd come on here with a bunch of people who've been doing it like 30 years longer than me. For you guys, when you first started out, what was it that you wish someone would have told you? Like, at least I wish I knew this before starting this, because that was your biggest friggin' roadblock.
All right.
I'm really
John. John, what are your thoughts?
That's tough. Because I as part of the comics launch, like one of the founding members of comics launch, so everything was kind of laid out up in front, as far as what it's going to take to make a comic and the type of skin that you got to put in the game, like, all of your skin,
That's first.
Yeah. Maybe it was more of the commitment. I was prepared, I think, at the beginning to put in time, but the amount of time that I put in has been extraordinarily long. So I guess that would be the only thing. I mean, I knew up front that it was going to be, the costs were going to be, expensive to get started. I didn't have a team at the time, so I was one of those guys at the beginning. I'm going to do it all. I saw Jason Brubaker do it all. I'm doing it all myself. And then it was like, holy shit, I can't do all of this myself. I suck. So yeah. So yeah, really it was just time. Time management is tough. Trying to do it all and keep a job and stay sane and not get divorced and that kind of stuff.
For sure. That
sanity.
right there actually goes into one other thing I was saying with the whole, like, people don't understand exactly how much goes into this, because a lot of us have full-time jobs, we have families, we have all this other shit we're doing, and we have to carve out time to still be a good husband, good dad, good boss, whatever, and a good creator for these other people who also rely on us. Like, we all of a sudden just tripled our family size, you know?
Right.
And those of us that actually still put something out, you know, it's a lot that goes into that. People don't get that. And it's discouraging. It really is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Josh. Ed, you're back. What are your thoughts on the question?
I think I lucked out that the colorist, when I first started with my book, had published for some of the bigger companies. So she was able to guide me through a lot of the steps. But I also went during slow times at different cons. I went and picked the brain of some creators out there, because people are always willing to share their ideas. Some, like Travis was saying, not always for free, but you can find the ones that will. And it was just kind of talking to whoever just happened to be out there and willing to throw any little nuggets of wisdom my way. And now it's, you know, you kind of pay it back, because you get the same kind of people walking up to your table and saying, like, hey, I want to create a comic too. Give me some ideas. And, you know, the first idea I tell them is save a lot of money, because you don't do anything unless you can do it all yourself. You're the amazing writer, artist, letterer. You know, you can check every box all by yourself. But, you know, other than that, I said, before you even start, you know, bank some money and then search around and find the right person. So it's one of those things. Talk to people. There's lots of people out there. And when I started, you know, I worked more alone than I should have, when realizing there's plenty of good assets out there.
All right, cool. Travis.
I'm going to take this one seriously, because Mike gave a serious question, so I'm gonna give him a serious answer. So I work in web design, so my primary day job is web design. So in my job, I bash email lists on the regular, because it is not relevant. Like, if you're looking for a plumber and I search engine your stuff to my local area, you can find a plumber. But email lists, I think, is the biggest thing that I think comic creators need to learn: how to market the email list, how to leverage your email list to get sales, to keep that fan base active, because you need to keep talking to them on a regular basis. You know, Marvel has this great thing every Wednesday. There's a comic book with Spider-Man on it, or whatever the case may be. You know, every week there's something new. So they're always talking to their fans. They're always doing something new. So they're continuing to build that fan base every week. We don't have that. We sometimes go months, you know, especially if you're starting out, it can be a year between issues. How do you keep them engaged, and how do you keep your audience? And it's that email list and building that email list, talking to those fans and being able to convert them. That's the biggest thing I learned. Yeah, I learned it from Comics Launch, you know, from what, you know, like John said, but I would have, as a web designer, I would have swore against it. Like, it's because it's useless to me. Everything I was taught, you know, unless you were doing like, you know, a retail store, which you don't get a lot of web design stuff. A local web designer does real estate, or, you know, and you're competing against other real estate agents or plumbers or urgent cares or whatever the case may be, life insurance. Those are the things that I do on the regular. Lawyers, you know, every door direct mail, there's all sorts of stuff you do, but email lists for comic books is so good to build a fan base. And it's crazy to think, you know, 5 years into this, I make $1,000 a year, and I'm not kidding, on Substack. People pay me $1,000, like just, it's a group of people over there, $1,000 just to have me sell to them. It's wild to me, because that's what my email list is mostly me doing, trying to sell them the next month. It's wild, but it's just people encouraging. So that's the biggest thing I learned. Get your email list as quickly as possible to continue to convert that fan base and build that fan base sets for you to find that first 1,000 fans, you know, to be able to make this a career.
All right, fair enough. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
There was a lot of good stuff there too. So like these guys, I'm in the Comics Launch group, so I got a pretty good start. So I think I'm going to go with something a little bit more on the creative side. Like when I first started out, when I did my first book and I needed to color my cover, I was like, I don't know how to color. So I painted the cover because I was like, I know how to paint. I don't have time to learn digital coloring. So I ended up actually taking some courses from Comics Experience on how to digital color. It was like the first thing I'd ever done. And it was the most frustrating thing I think I ever put myself through. The learning curve for that was super steep. I really didn't use Photoshop before that. So like I had to learn Photoshop. I was trying to learn coloring. I was trying to do all this stuff. And it was hard. It was like almost miserable hard that I was like ready to give up on not on comics, but like on the coloring. And so what I ended up doing is like I had to get help to finish my first book to do the colors. Otherwise I was never going to hit a deadline. So I ended up doing a couple smaller projects where it didn't seem quite as daunting. Like 6 pages is not anything near as bad as doing 22 pages. And I actually, you know, once I got through the learning process, I actually figured out like how to do the coloring, and like it was interesting to me because I was able to take things that and apply them in different ways than just my art alone. So it was really interesting to me where like now I was like not only just looking at line art, I'm looking at value and how to like combine this stuff. And it actually, I feel, made my art better because now I'm thinking of my art in a different way because I'm applying a whole nother skill set back to it. So to wrap it around, I would say like, you know, try out the stuff. Like, you know, I feel like it's good to learn all the disciplines of comics. Like I've done inking and everything. But don't feel like you need to do them all. Find what you actually want to be doing. Spend your time doing that. You know, give yourself some time to actually find out if you do like it. Because I hated lettering, and I ended up like actually loving coloring. And like that's now what most people come to me for is the colors. And it still blows my mind that that's something I like was so close to giving up on.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm going to change my answer to Ryan's. I like Ryan's answer better.
I'm changing my glasses then.
Make Ryan color. That's a weird answer, John, but that's all right.
That's literally what he does.
Nice. All right, Jay, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I wish somebody told me to stop doubting yourself. Right? There's got to be enough people out there saying all this negative shit. You can't do this. You know, your shit sucks, and it's okay.
I'm sorry I said that, Jay. I'm sorry.
I'm not.
It's okay. Anybody could say whatever they want. That's fine, as long as you don't say it to yourself. Right? There's going to be enough out there. You don't need to help them along. If you make a wrong decision, okay, learn from it, figure it out. If you make a right decision, okay, learn from it and figure it out. Just don't doubt yourself while you're doing it. Don't put yourself down. Don't add fuel to the fire that they're trying to burn you with.
That's fair. For myself, I'm a little bit opposite from Ryan. I actually like lettering, but yeah, I actually enjoy it. But there are certain rules to lettering that I wish I had learned earlier, because I had actually had to spend a great deal of time going back and relettering probably 200 or 300 pages.
That's how I got you, right?
that had initially relettered, but during that process, I learned even more. So it's a process of just continuously doing it. So lettering is important, because if you have a poorly lettered book, you just got a poor book. And that's, you know, because for me, lettering is the art that's, if it's invisible, that person did a great job. If I never noticed the lettering, that person did a great job, because I'm just going through the book and it's perfectly fine. If I see the lettering and it's distracting, I've seen some premier letterers, professionals, who they letter books and all I see is their lettering, and I'm like, and it's distracting from the book, and I'm like, it's not an ad to the book as far as I'm concerned, you know, because I'm like, if you're taking away from the artwork and the story because the lettering is too pronounced, then I feel it's taking away, is detracting from the story, because I'm not there to look at your lettering. I'm there to read the story and experience that story and look at the artwork. Lettering is nice, but you know, I shouldn't be distracted from the main thing that I'm there for. So that's how I feel about it. Mr. Mike, answer your own question.
Okay, so far, the biggest thing that was the biggest setback that we had was losing data, like losing all of our friggin' progress multiple times. JD was actually the one that gave me this set of advice. He was the first person that really was like, hey, do you guys back up your shit? Like, what's your stuff backed up on? Because I was like, dude, we just lost like 10 months worth of pages, man. It's all gone. And then he's like, yeah, do you back it up? And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? What do you mean back up? Because I don't do tech. And that was a huge thing, man, because we ended up actually like having a few things crash since then. But now we have like 2 separate like external drives that we have. We use Dropbox and whatnot with like 2 terabytes of bullshit for Dropbox. Like we have it saved on absolutely everything because just the luck that I have with this, if anything is going to fail, like, or if anything can fail, it's gonna, and it has. And like JD's little bit of advice with that saved our ass so many times past that. Like one of the biggest issues that we had was like, man, we have to start over again. We got to keep going and like starting over. And it's like, dude, we're getting burned out. We have all this other story, but here we are working on that same page again, you know? So honestly, if you're doing anything digitally, I mean, I'm probably the only asshole that didn't know that, but like back everything up and then back that up again. Because something's going to happen. It takes a while to put out a friggin' book, so some shit can happen in that time. And yeah, like legitimately, JD, I'm not sure if you remember that.
No, I remember. Yep,
he told me that, man, and that has helped out. We've had a lot of shit crash since then. And in our area, we have like power outages and whatnot all the time. So we're in like a fire zone in California.
Yeah, brownouts. Yeah,
shit'll shut off. Yeah, they'll just shut our shit off and be like, "Oh, it's going to be out for like 3 days." Suck it up with no warning. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this crap I've been working on this entire time, gone, all gone.
Yeah, it sucks. That is the worst kind of mayhem, right?
Yeah.
You know,
you were shitting on my Segways last night, and you couldn't even get yours ready. You motherfucker. I mean, you were dogging me with my Segways yesterday, kid.
Oh, your Segways sucked.
Yeah, yours is doing that much better? Come on.
My system is slow.
You don't even have a pill off yet. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. There's a pill for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know you're well aware, and you use it quite often. Guys, you want me to play this video?
No, it's just us talking. It's just us talking. You don't need to play it.
You sure?
Yeah.
They worked on it. Play it.
Yeah.
Play it.
John, we're going to play the video.
All right.
John's acting is coming into life.
It's crazy.
Oh, thank God it doesn't work.
Yeah, how about it? I guess it does work.
He probably just wanted to deleted it real quick while you.
I just went in and turned it off.
See,
there we
are.
Hey everybody, I'm Ryan, and we're cartoonists living in Pennsylvania. And we're here today to talk to you about our latest Kickstarter, Worse Than Mayhem. Worse Than Mayhem is a medieval caustic adventure about 2 strangers who are bound by a curse and must work together to pay off the debt. So, how can you help? Well, we're glad you asked. Take a look at our reward tiers to the left of the screen. At the very least, you can get a PDF delivered right to your email. And of course, you can get a physical copy of the book. But keep scrolling. You can get a sweet piece of comic book art on archival ink on heavy Bristol board. We also have some incredible variants, as you can see from behind me, made by amazing artists. And you can even get a sketch in the book by me. Or me. And there's much, much more. So what are you waiting for? Click the green button, back this project, and help us bring this project to life. Thank you.
Can you believe that only took us 6 hours?
I kept fucking up the intro. It's all right.
That
Well, at
was
least-
adorable. It was like a father and son team interviewing the kid they picked up in their van.
I mean, that sounds like our next one. You know, if we had more time, I pitched John that we would dress up like LARPers and be out in a field doing our con pitch that way.
Yeah.
Next
Nice.
time.
You guys should have been pitching the sequel to Black Phone, not the book.
All right, so gentlemen,
We told you not to play it.
How about it? It was, yeah. Oh my God.
all right, so John, Ryan, what do we have here? Talk to me.
We have a comic that was made by two buddies who just want to make each other laugh. That's what this is. It's like I said, it's a medieval. It makes fun of the Middle Ages and kind of a D&D-esque format. There's creatures and magic and all sorts of stuff. The main characters, Worst and Mayhem. They don't know each other at the beginning of the book, and they kind of mess up this bar, and in the process have to pay off the bar owner to repair it. And so they have to they're like mercenaries. So.
All right, cool. Have you ever read Fat Father Grey Mouse? That's how their story begins.
Yeah. There's a lot. It's written. So we have multiple issues planned. It's written kind of like the way a campaign would happen, where you meet characters along the way of an RPG, and as they meet different characters, they get a bigger and bigger team, and it keeps going from there.
Do characters randomly disappear for months at a time because they can't make their schedule work?
That's just the Colorist. So while the beginning might be like very stereotypical, like everything pretty much after that intro sequence is literally all just random stream of consciousness, like where we pitch literally the stupidest idea and we just haven't said no to anything yet.
Yeah.
And there is like literally no way people are going to guess like what's going to happen next. It's not going to be like when you watch a movie. We're not writers.
Yeah.
It's going to show. We're just having a blast,
guys.
Is anyone allowed to pitch an idea?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it basically we come up with the craziest things that these characters can go into. Most of it's stupid. We want it to be funny and we want it to be entertaining, and then we just try to string it together. We write all the parts to make all those stupid things kind of connect. And it started as a one-off, really. What happened was I did this goofy little drawing of a dragon in a little pet bed, little baby dragon in a pet bed, and I was in between projects, and Ryan was just finishing up what he was working on, and we were trying to figure out what our next projects were going to be independently. And we have always worked together and launched Kickstarters at the same time and kind of fed each other's, momentum together. And we just decided maybe we should do something together. And that's where it was born. Yeah.
Cool.
Like when we were sitting and just doing those like first couple of video calls, I don't think we ever laughed so hard in our life. And like we've known each other for a long time now. Like we've been doing shows and stuff together since like 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
Nice.
Exactly.
And so like, we've talked all the time, and like literally the fact that this made us laugh so hard, like we're like, yeah, this is the thing. Like we got to do this. So I mean, if it comes through in the final product where people can see how much fun we're having making it, like, I think it's going to be that they're going to enjoy it.
Cool. So, I mean, obviously you got a first issue. You're planning on a second issue. Is it a limited series, ongoing? What are you guys looking at?
Right now we have 8 issues planned. We have 4 4 additional issues titled, and Ryan's already wrote the very last story for the series when we get tired of making it. So right now there doesn't seem to be an end. We want to do as many as people want to read. It really, we're doing it for us, and that's the biggest part of it. You know, we're making something we want to read. We're making something we want to make. And we're hoping that comes through and people will want to read it as well. And as long as the fans keep buying, we'll keep making.
Nice, cool. Yeah, I mean, you guys have already funded.
Yeah. It was crazy. We funded in the first 15 hours,
Nice.
and then it kind of just as it always does. The very first day is the rocket, and then it kind of just evens out a little bit. We get about a backer a day right now, and then we're looking forward to the last week and a half of it just really picking up. We're hoping. I mean, Ryan has all these plans, so I don't know. I just want to make the book.
Well, you guys are well on your way. So you guys did it. So congratulations. It's great. You got another 18 days. So you definitely got a chance to make put some more ducats in there. So that's good.
Yep. Yep.
Was it a 30-day campaign or did you do a shorter one?
No, it's a 30-day campaign. It's from we launched on Leap Day. We figured that the craziest book would come out on the most craziest day of the year.
Right.
So it goes from February 29th to March 29th. Yeah.
All right, cool. Listen, man, you guys are doing fantastic.
Thanks.
So I just checked out the campaign there, and I'm looking at these pages here real quick. I thoroughly appreciate the one part where they're fighting in the friggin' bar, and the one dude's just like, fuck, and just flips the table. That takes me back. That's my character in a friggin' bar fight. Just getting irritated for flipping shit.
We knew somebody could relate to that.
That's right.
He's like,
right.
fuckers.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Ed, do you want me to play this video?
Go for it.
Do it.
Once again, we return to the Immortal Era, a post-apocalyptic world 200 years in the future, a cursed world where all of humanity has become immortal. In this issue, we interrupt Ari, Miguel, and Kimberly's perilous mission to infiltrate the Age Soldiers' headquarters with a backstory. The tragic story of Father and his love, Stephanie Rose. This tale takes place years before Father rescued baby Miguel from the clutches of the Eaters. In this issue, we will witness Father's quest to save his wife, a quest that will lead him to the flat fields and beyond. How far will Father be willing to go to save his love, and how much of his soul will remain when the quest is complete? Join us for our longest issue to date, a 32-page standalone issue that can be enjoyed by new readers and by those who have been along from the start.
I like it.
Nice.
Short, sweet, to the point.
200 years in the future, your boy's still rocking a flat top fade, man. Some shit never goes out of style, right?
Yeah. 200 years. That.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, getting played vibe going on.
So, Ed, walk us through this. What do we have?
The first one, it kind of stands on its own. Every other issue you would have had to read along as you're going, but the basic premise of the story is it's a post-apocalyptic world where everyone has gained immortality, but not the kind of immortality, like I say in the description. It's not sparkly vampire immortality. This is one where you age, you get sick. There's a character who's just a decapitated head, and it centers on a group of heroes who are trying to bring death back in the world and save humanity by killing them. So this one brings in, it introduces a lot of things that I've been hinting at all along the way. With the Stephanie Rose story, it's something that I've been hinting at since issue 3. and we finally get the payoff with some of these things that have just been mentions that other characters have said. And when it's all said and done, it's going to be a 24-issue story. And this one is kind of a pivotal one that introduces a lot of the big concepts and finally shows us what these things are.
Nice. So now you're at what is this, issue 9?
This is issue 9, yeah.
Nice. Now, how many more issues do you see in the series continuing? Like, how many more issues do you see you have?
It'll be 4 6-issue story arcs when it's all said and done. And the story is completely, it's not fully written in comic script because I started it as a novel series. So the entire storyline is written. It's just now adapting things into comic, and it kind of changes because when I wrote it, it was a first-person narrative from one character's point of view, and now you're having to kind of flesh out all of the little side characters that may not have been quite as mentioned or big when we did the original, when I was doing the original novel. So a lot of it's just kind of, okay, this character was pretty insubstantial, but now they need a lot more fleshing out. So that's kind of what I do as I'm continuing the story in comic script.
Gotcha. Now, translating that script from prose to comic books, what did you consider to be your greatest obstacle?
Oh, it was so friggin' wordy. When I got my first draft back from the letterer, the entire artwork was covered with dialogue. So learning how to trim the fat and still keep the story understandable, that's still my biggest obstacle, because every first draft is insanely wordy. It's like, okay, even now I have to cut myself back. It's not as bad as it was in the beginning, but it's just every issue. Okay, what needs to go where we can still keep the core story there and the understanding there, but not give the people a novel because they're reading a comic book. They don't want to read a novel at this point.
Right. Gotcha. Now, do you find yourself going back to some of the older issues and saying, I can tweak this and tweak that?
Oh, I would tweak them forever. Anytime I read them again, I'm like, oh shit, that doesn't sound good. And that I don't like how that's, I don't like how that works. There's a couple panels that I still despise, and I just can't look at them because I would have my artist redo the whole thing. I would, have the letterer redo the whole thing. So sometimes you just have to say, all right, we've got this far. The readers are still here. We don't need to go and change that. But yeah, anytime I read it, I would want to change, a whole stack of things again.
Gotcha.
You gotta leave it alone. If not, it becomes, the 16th release of Blade Runner, right?
Yeah, or the Lucasing of all his shit. It's like, okay, let's add a do back there because that's what people want, is a CG looking thing in a world of, all practical effects. Yeah. So you realize at this point it's been released. Don't tweak it. The only thing I've done is when I finished issue 6, I wrote an extra epilogue that could be added to the trade. So that way, if you do buy the trade, you get a little something extra to the story that wasn't there in the floppies. And I'm writing the same thing for issue 12 because that one, the art team's about to begin the work on issue 12. And I wrote another 6-page epilogue that we can add to the trade. So you get a little something different. And then when I do reprint issue 6, that gets added into the second prints of the floppies.
All right, cool. Now, you got 27 days ago. You're about a third of the way there.
Yeah.
Is this a 30-day campaign?
It is.
Okay, so you just launched. All right, got it.
Yeah, we launched on Thursday.
All right, cool. So you got plenty of time. I think you're gonna cover your spread, so you got plenty of time. So that's good. Yeah. So all right, it looks great. Shit.
Yeah, man.
I don't even know what to say.
I just keep looking at that one piece. Looks like it's the train station from up above.
Yeah.
That's a great looking page, man.
Yeah, that one. That's when I actually we went to New York on vacation because my artist is in New York, mapping all these different photos because that's where the heroes of our world are all forced to just live underground. If they try to go to the surface, they're immediately hunted down and not killed, but sent to the prison area, the flat fields that we finally get to see in this issue. So it was, a lot of things I'm running and just snapping photos for the artist because he has no idea what it's supposed to look like. So I said, okay, here's a subway. Now imagine that rotting away for 200 years, and they move around these cars to turn into homes.
No, that's cool.
So, Ed, I got something to tell you that you're probably not going to like.
What's that?
I listen to a lot of podcasts, if you're not aware of comic podcasts. And
yeah,
Scott Snyder says that if you read any of his Batman run and buy the trades, some of them are unrecognizable because he's redone the dialogue in it. He said the best example is the Jim Lee, the one that he did with Jim Lee, like Superman Unchained. He says it's unrecognizable. But of course, you're working with Jim Lee. You're never going to feel you did good enough, right? Like you can read it 1,000 times, you're going to be like, Jim Lee's hard.
Yeah.
But I think like a lot of creators continue to do stuff. I go through all my stuff when I go to the trade. I don't do massive overhauls, but I do tweaks. Because I got better, and I want to show that I'm better.
Right. Yeah. Listen, there's nothing wrong with it. You got to do it.
Yeah, it's
little bit awesome as well.
But yeah, I won't make it unrecognizable, but there's just a few lines where there's always a few lines where I'm like, you know what, I can do better than that, and try not to make my letterer freak out, because I swear I drove my last letterer to drink, because it's like, you know what, I will not allow one misplaced comma. I want it to be perfect as possible. And he's like, dude, nobody's gonna fucking care about that comma. I'm like, have you met the internet? Someone will care.
You're like, I care, damn it. That's all that matters.
I fucking care about that comma.
That comma means the world to me, damn it.
That's my fucking comma.
That's it. Travis, you want me to play this video?
Sure, why not?
Did Tyler do this one for you?
No. The team hired JD Calderon.
Got it.
Short and sweet.
Seriously. Nice.
You wanted to make sure to get like a really high video full play percentage. Yeah. You don't even have time to pause.
By the time you do it,
start hearing the lyrics, "Children behave."
Listen, I give all you guys high marks. Nice, quick videos. Love it.
So this is Coins of Judas. This is my book with Band of Bards. What Coins of Judas is, it's been in the drag market. In fact, right now in previews, the second arc of it, The Gambler, is in previews. We've collected that into a trade to do it to the Kickstarter market. So it's 4 issues. Basically, for Band of Bards, they pay me to do the issues. So we do 2-issue arcs at a time because that's what they can afford. So we do so it's a full trade of all 4 issues. So it's 2 issues of Coins of Judas, 2 issues of Coins of Judas, a Gambler. Full story arcs, throw them back to the Marvel 2-in-1. So it's about the Westergaard family, Sophia and Gunther. They are hunting the coins of Judas. So when Judas betrayed Christ, 30 pieces of silver fell to the ground. Those 30 pieces of silver were spawned 30 demons. All those 30 demons are bit of the worst sins. So whether it be buying children for slaves, by prostitution, anything evil have spawned demons, and these are demon hunters trying to cleanse these 30 demons, these 30 demons from the world. Rumor has it, if you can cleanse all of them, that will, start the apocalypse and ruin it. But some people are for it, some people are against it, and that's what this family does. So very cool stuff. Tyler did the first two issues, and then Roland's Katniss did the second 2. And it's a lot of fun. If you like action adventure kind of Ghost Rider stuff, this is the book for you.
Nice.
All right, cool. I mean, you're this is what, the first 4 issues, right?
Yeah, the first 4 issues. Yep, and they're all done. So it's very cool stuff. Like I said, action packed. We're not supposed to buy slaves. No, we're not supposed to buy slaves.
Is this currently in the previews?
Yeah, correct. The Gambler is
okay
right now, so you could get issue 1 in the preview. So if you want the floppies, you can buy them here on the Kickstarter, pay an extra $5. But if you want to wait for your store, you can get them from the store. But this is a trade. It has a softcover version and a hardcover, also a shiny collector's coin. So we've put out all the stocks for it, which is really cool. Kept it pretty affordable for the most point. So it's kind of fun. We have 2 variant covers for the trade, and it's a lot of fun. I'm excited to be part of Band of Bards. Excited to put this campaign together.
Nice.
So now I got to know, if you buy one of the collectible coins, are you going to be hunted by demon hunters?
Yes. But that's the risk you're willing to pay. You know, I mean,
I feel like I need to do that.
right.
That's more bang for your buck right there.
Right, exactly. Your life will become infinitely more exciting.
Calderon's a big mark for coins, bro.
I am. But you messed. Oh no, okay. It's limited to 30 coins. Nice.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Not messed up. There's only 30.
Yep.
Secret though, if you buy those 30, I'll make another 30. But yeah, it's a fun series, man. If you guys like Ghost Rider, you like supernatural, like fun action stuff, you know, demons and groups and covens, you know, like kind of battling each other because there's a whole bunch of groups and orders all fighting for the same stuff. It's a lot of fun with a lot of mythology behind it. Lots of world building. I love telling these stories. They're super fun. Really happy that Band of Bards hired me to do so. And even though it has Band of Bards logo, one of the cool things about them, though they've hired me to make this series, I own it. It's creator owned. Like it belongs to me. They just publish it and pay me to do it, which is really cool. So I got a page rate and it's mine. So one of those rare opportunities.
Did you approach them or did they approach you?
So what happened is they had a anthology called Tales from the Static. And I had written and Band of Bards was a new publisher, and I didn't know what kind of level of creators would submit to it. I liked them as a publisher. So I decided to submit, believe it or not, it was a Mad Cave submission that I had written for their Woven Heart. So I rewrote it to be the Coins of Judas because it involved the Coins of Judas as kind of a throwaway. I rewrote it as like a one-shot with the Father, which is the opening parts of Coins of Judas. And they loved it. And they said, you are not accepted in the anthology. And I was like, oh, that sucks. But we want to sign on a full series. I was like, all right, that's the best rejection I've ever had. That's actually happened twice. I recently submitted to Mad Cave. They had an open call. I submitted. They're like, we don't want this. Please have a meeting with us. Pitch to us. I was like, what is happening? Like, clearly I need to stop having a fear of rejection because it clearly works out in my favor.
I said it. Don't doubt yourself, dude.
Right?
Stop doubting yourself, man.
There you go. Very nice. All right. So, I mean, you got what? You start, when did you launch this thing? 3 days ago?
They did 33 days because they have a con the last 3 days of the campaign. So they extended. I think it's up in I don't know exactly. Are you close to the city, JD? Where are you at?
Yeah.
Okay, they're in Buffalo. So they're Nickel City Comic Con, I think, is at the end of the month. Or
which one?
I think it's called Nickel City. Is that one?
Oh, yeah, that's Buffalo. That is Buffalo.
Yeah,
that's Buffalo. Yeah, that's 8 hours from here.
Yeah. So they're doing a con over there. Yeah, they're close to Canada. So they're going to do a con over there. So they extended a couple days. So they had this live during that con, which is fine. So it's pretty cool. So it's a little bit longer than extra. We're making progress, but it's tough, right? Like I said, the power of an email list. It's really hard to go. They're very loyal to me, and I'm like, this is mine too. And they're like, but it doesn't have orange cone on it. And I've literally got that email. They're like, we'd buy it if it had orange cone on it. I know. I promise you, I get paid. Like, please.
Nice. No, but it looks great, man. I mean, you guys are doing awesome. So I mean, shit.
Yeah, like I said, the first 2 issues have already been done in previews. The other ones, it appears it'll be lunch. Everyone will get their stuff at the end. The trade is exclusively to Kickstarter. The direct market trade will be a different release. It'll have a different cover and everything, but this is for the Kickstarter audience because I have such a big Kickstarter audience. I wanted to give something to them that's special, that's unique. It's one of my better works, so I really recommend
This one is hardcover too, or no?
There's a softcover and a hardcover. Yep.
Yeah,
we have a limited edition hardcover for 100. There's 100 hardcovers made.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I really like that one cover, man.
Yeah, it's really
the one with the blue. Oh, it's so nice.
If you scroll up, I think he's talking about that one.
Which
He
one?
doesn't
This
want
one?
me to He doesn't want me to keep looking at it.
Right there.
That
Yeah,
one?
that,
Yeah,
that's
it's
so
nice.
so
Yeah.
nice.
You can buy it, Ryan. Don't be scared. You bought my stuff before. It's fine.
I know I have. It's all good.
Yep.
So Travis, I have two questions.
Yeah, what's up?
I'm looking through your shit right now. So first off, it's issue 1 and 2, right? Like there's nothing else. There's no other like catch up or anything like that for it.
Correct. You can buy the issues. So the individual issues, there's 1 and 2.
Right.
And there's Gambler 1 and 2. They're both like complete series. They're just 2-issue series. Or you can buy the trade combined.
Got it. Okay,
That's
so
all.
I'm asking because on your boy who was on like issue 8 or 9, I had to go all the way down to the bottom. It's finally like, a physical catch-up thing or whatever. I was like, oh shit, there it is. I'm like, dude, do I have to sit here and add everything onto it? But I found it. It's good. Back to
Yeah, I always make sure I have that. And I have soft and hardcover as well in my book for 1 through 6. And I did the same thing Travis did with only 100 copies of the hardcover, mainly because that's all I could afford to print. But
Right.
we'll just say it's to make the collectors drool.
Well, I admit the Kickstarter isn't as streamlined as I'd like. I'll be honest, it was the hardest thing in the world to let someone run their Kickstarter. I'm just like, I've got tons of skins. They're like, we've hired Joey. I was like, okay, all right, that's fine, So I just fight my battles. And they're doing a great job. The graphics look better than my graphics. It's not the organization that I would have, but it's all there, and it's clear. It just takes a minute to figure out.
See, having something straight up say like catch up or whatever is great for someone like me. Like I just heard of this and I'm like, dope. I want to be able to support fellow creators, this and that. You got people like JD who has put things out since like 1775 and and he'll be like, oh, there's this next one with this mouse. And it's like, Oswald Chronicles, it came out of the toilet and it knew French. And I'm like, do I have this one yet? And I'll message him and be like, dude, do I have this yet? Do I need this one? Like, send me a list of shit I have already. So I can back up stuff. So
I can help you. What you do is you go down to the bottom and just buy the biggest.
Yeah.
And whoever that person is, they'll make it what it needs to be for you, Mike. Don't you worry about it. Just the biggest at the bottom, and it'll all work out in your favor.
We'll fill in the blanks. Don't worry.
Actually, so before
Don't worry
my
about what it says.
for Travis here, man. JD,
There it is.
on
There
your
we
most
go.
recent thing,
What
I got
happened?
this most recent one, right? Or am I missing this one?
No, I'm
What's
pretty
that?
sure you got this. Is the trade. This is the trade. So you're pretty sure you already got this one. So if you got all the books, you got this one. But yeah, this is I got another 7 days on this one. It's puttering along. It's doing all right. So this is Oswald finding Dauphin on his basically where he lives on his mall, and he's half close to death. He's fighting this evil demon, this ancient evil that he's been chasing around since the 50s, who killed his family, and he's out for revenge. And Dauphin is, and Oswald is there, and he's going to try to help him out. So that's pretty much the crux of it. The artwork is by Jade Gonzalez. The cover is by Aurelio Tillis. It's actually a 164-page trade paperback. So the actual comic book section of it is 120 pages. And then I also put in the prose story in the back of the story that it's originally derived from. So it was originally a prose story, and I had converted it into a comic book. So you have the comic book and the prose, so you can compare the two because there is differences, huge. And I'm pretty sure, Ed, you can attest to this. The prose never exactly translates.
That's a good idea to do the prose chapters in the back of the trade because they.
Yeah, because it was originally a short. Yeah, it was originally a short story. It's a novella. It's about 26,000 words, something like that, 28,000 words. So, so I figured I'd put it in the back of the book. So,
yeah, I like that idea. I'm going to have to think about putting at least some excerpts from it in there.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going through Calderon's campaign, and it's like, does anybody else here on the panel charge shipping for their PDFs? I mean, that's kind of fucked up that Calderon is doing that to me, bro.
Dude, I got a lot of artists to feed, bro. I got artists to feed. They don't care how I do it.
$10 shipping for a PDF. What fucking kind of bullshit is this?
Did it
You
really
gotta
say
pay for
that?
bandwidth now? Come on.
Listen, you're lucky it's just 10.
AOL. You
Yeah.
can pay his AOL subscription to make sure it happens. So it's
It's a handling fee.
I feel like this all goes back to that Dropbox comment earlier.
All right.
I hit the full trade instead of the PDF, but I'm getting the full trade. I'm just gonna pick it up.
Yeah,
Hey, shipping
that's
that shit,
true.
son.
That's true. All right, so gentlemen, I got another question for you guys. Right? An easy one, right? As a reader, what are you looking for? Right? We all read books, we're all fans of books, right? What are the things you're looking for quintessentially from anything that you read? You know, what are you looking for as a reader? I think we were up to A.
I think for me, I mean, because whether you're reading a comic, a novel, whatever it is, you just want to be engaged. Because I'll read true crime, I'll read, fiction, nonfiction, and I want to be engaged. Because I think about what I had to read when I was working on my master's degree. That shit was not engaging. It was a torturous, tedious read. So when I finished that, I'm like, you know what? I am putting down books that bore the shit out of me. So catch me fast. Don't make me have to trudge through, 200 pages and they say, don't worry, it'll get good. Well, fuck that. I don't have time to waste. I want it to get good fast enough where I want to keep going. If it, I'm done. So hook me fast and just keep me there.
I like that. Travis, what are your thoughts?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So, okay. Fair enough. I'll do my best.
He's above your simple question, JD.
I guess so. Or maybe he's just missing the easy point. But
I feel like there's a trick, so I want to make sure there's no trick before I answer.
No. There's no trick about. Literally, it's like, are you looking to, are you looking for a quick start? Like Ed said, are you looking for plot, character? Are you looking for something that's going to make you happy? Are you looking for something that's going to make you sad? Are you looking for information? You understand? I mean, what are you looking for in a work?
I mean, man, I read so many things. It's hard to tell exactly what I'm looking for. Some books, like Spider-Man, I will buy Spider-Man forever. Nice way to smooth talk, I guess.
That's it, Chompy. You're never coming back on.
You know what? I'm removing my pledge from your book. Man.
I like all these things. I will read Spider-Man forever. I don't care how bad it gets.
Right.
Because I love Spider-Man. But I'm not as forgiving as on She-Hulk or even the Incredible Hulk, right? So it really depends on the story. But I love world building things that have great dynamic worlds with personal stakes. I love a personal adventure with personal stakes. But I love it all, man. Like, stop. This is way too complicated of a question for me. It's way too. I like stories, and that's why I've backed thousands of Kickstarters and have a $60 comic budget. I gotta whisper that, the wife's here. A week comic budget. It's big. I read too many comics, JD, to answer that question. I just love the art of storytelling. So if you can convince me that your story's worth telling, do it. Because there's been a few people I've read their story. I was like, I'm not sure if this is worth telling, good sir. Like, we need to not do this anymore. And I'm not going along, but good, more power on you.
Yes. We've all been there. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I just like the escapism of stories. But I had to really think about this. And I feel like the thing is, like, not just waiting to have like a moment that's worthwhile until you're past, like, the first issue or something like that. I can't tell you how many books I've read where I read 22 pages and it's just like a setup, and then they have like the obligatory, like, all right, here's the final page splash, the thing happens in the next issue. Like, I get that's comics, that's what we do, but like, if I look back on the story and there wasn't anything, like, what was the story about? Like, I don't know, getting the next issue. Like, as long as they don't do that, like, have something in the story that I look back and I'm like, oh man, that was so cool. Like, now I can't wait to see the next issue. Like those are the things that I'm like really, those are the ones I like. That makes sense.
No, it does. John, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's similar. I read a lot. I read a lot of comics. I read a lot of books. I have different criteria for different. I listen to books and audio because I have a long drive to work. In between what Ed and Ryan just said, there needs to be something engaging. There needs to be a hook. There needs to be a payoff every bit. So if like in a comic, you get 10 pages in, and if there's not a hook and a payoff within that 10 pages, it's like, why do I keep going? There's, and it has to just be well written. Even the dialogue has to be not forced and cheesy. I have some comics that are just beautiful. The art in it is amazing, and the story just sucks, and it's a slog. and you don't want to read it. You as a comic reader, I am more forgiving. I'm not the greatest artist in the world, obviously. I think I love the way I draw, but there's people that do anatomy and all sorts of stuff. They're realistic, and that's not the way I draw. But I'm more forgiving when the art is maybe not as great, but the story is really good. You'll keep reading, and you'll keep buying. If the story is really, like I said, it's bad. If the dialogue is just bad, if there's too much exposition, if it's too much, then I might as well read a novel. So there's a balance when you're doing a comic versus when you're doing prose. You got a lot more. Yeah, there's a lot more forgiveness in verbose exposition in prose than there is in a comic. So yeah. I think that answers your question.
Cool.
I feel
Mike?
attacked, John. I know you weren't attacking me, but all your words, I feel attacked.
It was actually towards Ryan, but it's okay. It's okay.
I feel like
Especially
Ryan
when
attacked
talking about
me.
this
I was like,
bad art.
No, it's all good.
All right, Mike, what are your thoughts?
So I'm going to double down on what Ryan said as far as the escapism is concerned. But it hits a little closer for me. Like, escapism is really, really, really important. It's very easy to say, but it's really important with these fantastical worlds that we're trying to represent. You love what you do, and you're trying to get that reader to feel it the way you're feeling it, right? So you want to pull them out of where they're at. The first conversation I had with JD, I talked about how comics, for lack of a better term, saved my life when I was a kid. I had that shit childhood. I was a homeless teenager. I'm a combat vet. Like, I had all these super hard times, and I read comics and I read novels and whatnot throughout my life. Just things that I got drawn into that pulled me away from something, and it made me think. It made me think outside of where I would normally be thinking, and it taught me other perspectives that I would come back into my world, and I would look at things through a different angle. Like this whole like learning about a hero and the way that they think and the way they like what got them there, whether or not they're the Conan or Luke Skywalker or whatever. Like those heroes that have that journey, you can come back and you see a lot of those parallels in your life, and you go, okay, cool. This person made this. Like, if you don't have someone in your life that you can look up to that's showing you these things or whatever, you also have these other heroes that you can go, they did this. Like, it sounds like a little kid friggin' talking about it, but I did that a lot in my life, and it really helped me out, because a lot of times I didn't actually have people I could look up to. A lot of times I didn't have anything. Sometimes I was in a whole other friggin' country sleeping in a dirt hole, and I was a kid. I joined when I was 17, and that kind of shit, like that kind of escapism of not just comics, but like novels and whatnot. Like, I really need to be engaged and be pulled out of where I am just for that simple, like, chance to breathe, let my brain kind of like make sense of everything going on, and then come back with that fresh perspective. So for me, that's really important, is make me think a different way. Make me think, just for once, see things the way you see them and the way you put them on the page. Like that is really, it's an intimate and important thing for me.
All right, cool. Listen, yep, awesome. Jay, what do you got?
I just want to make sure my money has been well spent. You know, I don't want to come away from a book and be like, I could have put that money someplace else. You know, that's it. You know, nothing special. I'm a simple guy. I'm a simple guy.
We know.
I just want it to be fucking good, bro. You know what I
we
mean?
Know. Simple. We know.
Oh my God.
You know, but I'll answer the question. I'm very similar to Mike in the sense that I do it. I like escapism. I like going to different worlds. You know, I like to, you know, literally I can read stuff and I'll just be transported to someplace else. And that's actually what I enjoy. That's why I watch film. That's why I read as much as I do. I read comics, I read novels. I just want my brain to just go to another planet. You know, I don't take drugs, but I promised everyone that when I hit about 75, 80, I'm gonna start taking the real hard hallucinogenics. You know,
you heard it here first, folks.
You heard it here first. That's it, bro. It's gonna happen. I'm telling you. Towards the end, I will be on another planet.
That.
You know, but it's the reason why I collect comics, man. I mean, I have a massive collection of books. I mean, books, and you name it. I have prose, I have comics, I have graphic novels, I have all sorts of stuff. And it's not just that, it's also just art books as well. You know, you just love looking at this stuff, and just like I said, there's some artists that can just take you, just transport you to a different planet just with one picture. You know, you just see this artwork and it's just like, whoa, like that's, you know, just takes you someplace else. And that's the stuff I love, you know, so there you go. Yeah. But Jay, before you answer your question, Mike, you said you had an announcement. I don't know if you want to do it now, if you want to do it. I don't know. You know, I remember you
now.
Oh, you know. My shit's gonna be way better than anything Jay has to ask. So let's let him go.
Oh, no. Do it down. It's all right.
All right. So we hit roadblock after roadblock, right? And we got super discouraged about like having to redraw things and try to get things out there. And Snooze came to me and she was like, it's all on her. Like everything's been written out. And she's like, man, I keep having to redraw these things or whatever. And I feel like I don't think that I can crank this out in the time that we need it. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, dude, you know what? You're right. We gotta kind of, you know, take another bite of that humble pie and let's see if we can get somebody on here, you know, bring in another artist to help us out. Right. We found a cat, fell out of the friggin' sky, man. He's super unknown. His page rate is amazing. He's fast as shit. And he's like really excited, like super excited to work with us. I sent him a couple things like, hey man, let's just kind of see how you do. And I sent him a few pages that like we were really, really proud of, right? Just to pencil. I'm like, just pencil some stuff. So as soon as it doesn't have to deal with layout, she's super fast at inking. We can just do that. And then I will, you know, make some edits and I'll color. And he cranked out these pages. I sent him like I think 6 pages, right? And he cranked out like his version of it in like 2 days and shot him back to us. Yeah. And I was like, dude, I was actually really proud of these friggin' I was really proud of these pages. And now I feel like these pages are shit. Like not like, no, he's really friggin' good. I was like, this is exactly it. Like we couldn't totally nail it down because I'm not an artist. Snoots is a portrait artist. Like I know layout, but I'm not there yet. I'm not that guy. And this dude's like, this is awesome. I've been trying to deal with like Western creators, right? And he's really trying to like get his name out there. And so his page rate, I looked at it, I'm like, dude, I really want to bring this guy on. Don't tell him yet though. I just, you know, let's send him some script and see what he can do on his own, right? And that was even better. I'm looking at it like, dude, this is amazing. This is exactly how I saw it in my head. I can't bring myself to pay him this page rate. So I double this page rate, bringing him in. I'm like, do this. I'm doing this totally out of pocket. I need this cat. And I'm even like, dude, don't feel like you're milking me. If you feel like you want to throw in another page, do it. Like, I love this cat's work. Already we had it at like 125 pages. And I'm like, throw in a page, man. If you want to do it, throw in a page. I'll pay you for it. It's awesome. I'm super excited about this because everything he gives me is friggin' sweet. And I'm like, yeah, we do a lot of action stuff in our book, but there's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of story, there's a lot of characters. So let's see what you can do with that. Because some of his action stuff, I'm like, that's kind of over the top. Can he do dialogue? Perfect. It's exactly how I picture it in my mind, man. I'm just like, I can't get over this cat. I'm so excited that this dude got brought on. And he's like, I paid him in the first place. He hasn't told me. Yeah, I haven't even told Jax yet.
Surprised.
I paid him, right? And he was like super humble. He's like, this must be a mistake. Like, is this, you sure? Like, what's this for? I'm like, dude, I don't feel right paying you that rate. Like, I gotta give this to you. Like, and he's in Turkey. And he's like, you're treating me better than my own countrymen do. I'm like, dude, you're kicking ass. This is exactly what I needed. This is awesome. I'd love to have you on board. Got him on contract now officially. And he's cranking out. Like, he's cranking out the pages. And I forgot actually how so I felt like a dickhead, right? So this past year with my job, I've been overseeing 4 stores in my area. So I've had like little to no time to do anything comic wise. It's all been on Snoot. She's been doing all the editing and everything like that. And I forgot exactly how fast she is at inking. So he turned in all these pages, right? No. Yes, maybe. So she was working on doing the finishing touches on this spread he did, right? And I'm like, that's kind of a little up here. Maybe we should focus on inking everything he's given us, right? And she's like, Dick, that's all been sitting in your file. I've been waiting for you. Like, she already had everything blasted out. It's sitting in my file. I had no idea that I had to go through and like make the edits and color everything and so on and so forth. She's been sitting here blasting out this everything that I colored just because I got excited to do this spread. So like we're not only getting caught back up to where we were way faster than I even thought we could produce this work, but like it's looking even better than I thought it was going to, and it's probably even going to have more pages than I had planned for us to do. And it looks exactly how I wanted it to be in my mind.
Very good.
Like, I am beyond stoked about this cat, man. I'm so excited about this. That's my news.
When that magic
fangirl about this cat. What's that?
When that happens, it's a magic moment, dude.
It's exactly. She found him, like, she got all these other people, she reached out to JD and whatnot. She got all these other people, and she's like, not really exactly what we wanted. And then there was just this one guy like, hey, I don't do Western comics. I'm a manga artist, but like I'm really trying to get in there. I'm really excited to work with it. Here's my page rate. And I'm like, all right, because a lot of times you have that thing of like you get what you pay for, right? So I'm like, okay, let's shoot him a couple pages. And he shoots it back, and I'm like,
nice.
That's fucking dope. That's sick, man. I love it.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, well, it looks like Calderon is having some technical difficulties, like he always does. For somebody who owns as many houses as he has, shouldn't be having this kind of trouble. But
he's fighting the artist that Mike's working with and get him at the regular page.
It's like, I'll double that. $5 to $10. That's Mike, I'm sorry, but look, I got something to ask. But we only got about 20, 25 minutes left. Does anybody want to ask anything to the group? Don't raise your hand all at once.
I don't want to ask anything, but I want to share.
That, though?
Yeah, Travis, shoot.
I didn't want to ask anything, but I did want to share.
Go.
One of the things that Mike said spoke to me. For me, I came from a very broken home. Comics were what taught me right and wrong. You know, I didn't learn that from my parents. It was the pages of the book and how Spider-Man and how Tony Stark handled situations. You know, is how I handled things. You know, and learn from that. And it's funny when I heard Mike speaking. You know, it even like reflects to this day. If I don't get my comics on Wednesday, like my week goes to shit. It's wild.
Really?
Like, even if I don't read them, I have to buy them because that's my level of like, I am okay in the world, right? If I can go to the comic store on Wednesday and buy my books, and even on vacation, like I just need to go to a comic store on Wednesday. It's like my therapy to make me feel like everything's going to be okay for the week. And it's really interesting how these things, these little things that don't matter to the majority of the world, right? Most of us, like even the people who love superheroes, who have probably more Marvel and DC t-shirts than any of us combined, who've never read a comic in their life, but they love all the movies and TV shows and action figures, like how these things spawn and how they affect us. I don't know. I was just thinking about that when Mike was talking about, you know, how he came from, I think you said you were adopted and doing some stuff, you know. Well, homeless, right? Homeless, right? Said homeless? I don't remember. Said something.
Yes,
before he keeps taking himself further down the hole. When you guys
you
go
were
away,
adopted, your family was murdered.
Yeah,
You're a trapeze artist, right?
You're Batman, right?
you know, I don't want to. My mom was adopted, so you know, I'm partial to that. But when you guys go away, do you look for shops? Do you try to take a moment away from the people that you're traveling with, whether they're family and friends, and say, "Oh my God, there's a comic shop like 5 or 10 minutes," or do you stay the course of what you're doing and not look for shops out of your?
I find a shop everywhere I go. Doesn't matter. And if I can't find a shop, I have to find a comic book. Like, okay, I traveled to France, couldn't find a comic shop when we were there. But I have, you know, Les Simpsons, you know, and I had to get a French Spider-Man because I want to own a comic from wherever we are. And when I was in France, it was finding more reprinted American comic books done into French. But yeah, I always seek out either a comic shop or at least walk out with a comic from that country in my hands.
I am really sad that you said you went to France and couldn't find any comic shops, because there's literally an entire street that's nothing but comic shops. Really? And on that street is a Star Wars themed like crepe place or something like that. Okay. You sit inside and it has like it's like the TIE fighters on the wall, dude.
This was like 20 years ago though, so I think it was a different world back then.
In France, you're talking about, Ryan?
Well, did you go to Paris?
Yeah,
France is a big place, just for the record.
France, there like 2 days.
There's a huge.
That was one thing. The group was not. The group didn't want to hunt comic shops, and the internet wasn't so accessible to just type in comic shop near me. Right. It was pre-smartphones, all that stuff. So I think now I probably could have found 10 of them if I just
on the one street
on my phone or had the internet.
Yeah,
I went into one of them and I was trying to find a comic by this certain French artist that I like. And, you know, I obviously don't speak French. The people didn't speak English. So it was this really awkward conversation. I had some guy that came up just out of like standing there. He's like, "I'll get the comic for you. Hold on."
Sometimes you can have the internet and you can miss out on this stuff. I was on a cruise a few years back before the pandemic, right? And one of the stops was Nassau. Okay, so we're in the Caribbean, Nassau. I'm doing, you know, when in Rome, do like the Romans, right? We got people looking for jewelry. We're having fine eats. We're checking out the beaches and stuff like that. But as I get back on the boat, I find out there was one shop in the main plaza over there at Nassau that the guy who owned it worked on Empire Strikes Back. Had one of the only few screen-used Yodas left in existence, still that were used for the production of the flick, and I didn't even think to look at it when I was out there, right? I mean, we had the internet, so it's like things like this just happen to go, and we miss it.
So you're going back?
I can't wait to go back, dude.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's there because this was pre-pandemic, you know. And I know they were using oh my god, the foam that deteriorates a lot.
I hope it's not
A lot of
asbestos.
the Yodas have not survived. Foam latex, excuse me, that foam latex. Just after almost 40 years, right?
Right.
So I hope it's still around. But we miss these things.
You'll find out the next time you go there. But when Daphne and I went to Paris, we were going to a museum where we were going to go see some tapestries, and it was early in the morning, probably about 9:00, and I saw a shop, and I pointed to it. I said, "That is a comic book store," and she looked at me like I was crazy. She was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "That's a comic book shop," and she was like, "I was like, listen," I said, "The geek sensor is strong in me. That's a comic book shop." So we went to the museum, hung out for a while, did a couple hours in there, came out, and we checked out. And I was like, "Oh, cool, I'll buy a bande dessinée." And we go in there, and she ends up buying like 16, 17 volumes that I have to carry back home. So it was fun. It was fun.
You got your workout, dude.
Have you guys ever heard that in Mexico, they never killed Gwen Stacy? And she's around for another 75 issues. Like, I'm not kidding. They get married. Wow. Like, there's a whole alternate universe. Yeah. They never killed Gwen Stacy because the Mexican government said, "Yeah, that's not going to track you. They really like Gwen Stacy." You can look it up, and I am fascinated. I need to find these Spider.
Yeah, I want.
That's my goal. I'm going there this summer. So.
I want to see it, dude.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
If I find the books when I'm in Mexico, I'm bringing them for you.
Yeah, please do.
Please.
Because I'll be there this summer, so now I have something to find. Now I have
Amazing.
It's like that whole thing with Voltron, right? Where the guy who drove the blue line that wore the black costume, he was killed in Japan, but here in the States, Sven, right? Yeah. But he was something else in Japan. What was his name? He was Sven here, but in Japan he was something else.
Well,
but they try to
Shiro and
Shiro. It was Shiro because over here in the States they try to rectify it with the Netflix show. So you had the Sven and you had Shiro both appear on the show. So
they put it in as it's just like a different dimension. Is all it is.
Yeah, man. Holy shit! So
they
had
easy to follow. Yeah, normal stuff.
So. Mexico is now confirmed as being in a different dimension because Gwen Stacy never died.
Right.
The government officially was like, well, that won't track as being something to actually to be a tragedy because people are throwing off bridges all the time here. So
I like that.
So we're not going to do that.
That's funny.
Good stuff.
So, Mike, do you have another question?
It must be Wednesday.
Do you have another question?
Yeah.
No, I had to follow up something Travis said, but then we all just got like, you blipped out and the whole stream went to shit and everyone just started talking. So we're all totally off track now.
Jay, I told you this wasn't having under control. Shit coast.
Yeah,
you're the one that started it.
Damn it! No, there's your boy in the chat here, Wise Guys Entertainment. So. He actually is in my comic, this cat here. He is a super being known as Faultline. That's what he paid for to be in there. I was actually just talking about him today, so I'm glad he's on here. So to answer his question for what's current progress, so on and so forth, percentage like pencils, ink. So the story itself, just to answer that for him specifically, because this is like, I told all my backers, like, get on here if you can. If not, I'm going to do an update, yada, yada. We got back up to, after our last crash, we got back up to like 65, 70% done with all the art and the pages and whatnot. I tried this guy out. I hired him on, and I'd say we're probably back up to 25 to 30 with what he has cranking out right now because he's like crazy fast. Like this dude, which I didn't say, like this guy's been working with us now for like 2.5 weeks. So he's just cranking out these freaking pages. And I'm to the point where like, dude, if this doesn't work, if some shit, like if he gets bombed or some shit, like I'm just going to refund everyone. Like I can't go back now that I've seen what this could be. Right. So what we're at right now, it's getting back up to getting totally caught up very quickly. I'm very excited about it. Wise has been very patient with all this. A lot of people have, but I'm very excited. I honest to God believe that this is going to be an infinitely better product than it would have been starting out. Like that is my friggin' promise. Very excited about this. I'm not just trying to like save my own ass or whatever, because I absolutely will friggin' refund if I can't pull through with this. I will, no problem, and I'll just start over. But yeah, Wise, we're back in it. I'm super excited. You're gonna love what we do with your character. Yeah, so I just wanted to answer that because he's actually a true backer on there with questions.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
All right. So do you have a question? Because I got one.
No, do it, man.
All right. So last night I was on Jay's show and we were talking about collective advertising amongst independents. They were talking about doing it in movie theaters, that sort of thing. So the question is, can we do a collective advertising strategy as independent comic book creators? Can we get together as a group and, do something where we elevate not just ourselves as individuals, but as an entire, group, right? And how do we do it? Travis. Come on, Travis.
My instinct is to mock so bad. So I'm holding it back just for you. I'll put it in the private chat for you because I don't want to do it public.
No, do it publicly.
So I've got this great deal at Spencer's Gifts that we can get into, JD. So
Nice,
here's what we
nice.
do.
Motherfucker!
He told me.
I was in that shit too, Travis. I got burnt on that shit too.
Here's the thing. We absolutely can. You just got to be careful with who you do it with. Like, I'm going to be honest. Like, there's nothing worse than like advertising people who aren't going to fulfill or aren't going to do the thing, and it's hard to know because I mean, you and I've seen people who, like, I would say you're a safe bet, but you and I both seen people who we would swear our life that they're a safe bet, and then all of a sudden, like you have 5 campaigns unfulfilled. Like, what happened to you? Like, you're not doing your thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard. I think we can, and I think we should. I think there should be more cross advertisement, especially what I would like to see. Like, everyone, you hear this every couple of years or every few months. Hey, I've got this new distribution idea. I'm going to get us in stores. It's independent. We're going to do consignment, blah, blah, blah. Right? Instead of that, let's stop pretending that works because no one's ever been able to pull it off. Let's stop pretending. Why don't we have people we trust in a private group going, hey, these store buy from me consistently. I think I can get you in. Let's start there. And then everyone handle their own shit, so you don't lose your rep. Because a lot of times I have stores that I can get people in, but I wouldn't trust everybody to get in there. Does that make sense? And I've seen people who found out that I'm in there because I share it, and then they get in and they've screwed over the people or whatever the case would be. And I was like, mother effer, so I now don't post of stores that I'm in. I think that the better way is to, do some advertising. You can have advertising in books. Obviously, you can't do media mail. But I think the better thing is really, I think people who are trusted, there should be a back channel where we can go, hey, these comic stores are really indie friendly. Here's how we do it, and be able to ask those questions, because so many people I've talked to, like when I do signings at store, they're like, how did you do a signing at a store? I was like, I asked them. Oh, and I also bought comics. That's the other secret. Like, because a lot of these people, they don't buy comics at comic stores. Like the gentleman in Zed, comics have sucked for the last 5 years, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Well, you're probably not going to ever get a signing at a comic shop if you can't speak their language, right? They want to talk about Something's Killing the Children. They want to talk about The Deviant. They want to talk about the new book coming out. So I think that the better course of action, the better plan is to build a strategy where we can get into the friendly stores and help elevate them up to get those in the friendly and then go from there.
Good idea.
which doesn't answer your question, but adds a whole another level to it. You're welcome.
No,
Next-
but that's good. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I don't really think like a movie theater thing would work. Like if you put any kind of bar of entry where like you go to a movie theater and you'd have to actually like type and do something like that, most people aren't going to do it. I mean, I don't really have any goals to get into comic book stores like anytime soon. Like that's not one of my end games. So like one of the things that I thought would be super cool and the logistics like definitely wouldn't ever work, but I really wish like we could make like an indie loot crate box where like you could just subscribe to like you wouldn't know what indie comics you're getting, and like it would just like they'd already be stuff that's done, and like every month like a box would show up and have like 3 or 4 like random indie comics of stuff that you've never heard of, and you could just it would be just taking a chance on. But like I do not know how the logistics for that would work.
The logistics are
So
hard.
it remains as like I really wish I could do this.
You'd have to have people buying into offset printing, so that way you can have the wholesale cost be wrapped up into it, and then whoever has the loot crate model, right? That main point of focus needs to have the operating capital to keep that going for at least 6 months before they can start to see a return on some of those profits. And subscription models really aren't that sustainable. You look at Loot Crate, you look at Birchbox, stuff like that, and past 5 years, they're not right. Past 5 years, it ain't happening. It's a good idea. I mean,
I wish it could happen.
That, right? But it can happen. It's called Webtoons, and when you're trading digitally, it works well, and you're keeping the international barrier of shipping out of the equation, right? Could something like that be incorporated over here? Yeah, but has anybody done it correctly yet? I don't think so.
Yeah.
All right. John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think it's viable. It's a difficult proposition. Like Ryan, it's not my end game to be in comic shops right now. So I don't put a lot of thought into it. I am in my local comic shop. They carry my Rancedville book and the anthology that I put, and they're looking forward to our Worst in Mayhem. But for the most part, I just visit that one shop. I mean, so yeah, it'd be more like what Travis was saying, is you'd need to have a bunch of people who have the shops that they're in, who are willing to share that information with people that they know, like, and trust, who aren't going to screw them over. And it's difficult because you never know when somebody, especially in indie comics, you never know when one of us is going to have something that happens. There's somebody could, an artist or a writer, somebody could die, some tragic financial problem could happen. Where it's all, we're all doing stuff on the cuff. It's not, well, except for Travis, who's using it. But no,
again, I appreciate that, Jay and John, that you acknowledge me and who I am and what I'm trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. We are groveling at your feet tonight.
We're down.
Yes, exactly. No, but I wish that comic shops were doing better, and I wish there was a better avenue for indie comics to get in. There are a lot of comic shops that are not indie friendly. They're old. They're stuck in the big publisher mindset. Even after Diamond has screwed them over, they are stuck in that mindset. Even after other distribution avenues have become available to them, it's a difficult. We're in a very difficult and precarious time right now as far as comics are concerned, especially indie comic creators. So yeah, it's tough. I don't see that a co-op advertising campaign Somebody's always going to be doing the heavy lifting, and somebody's always going to be riding on coattails. Just the way it works.
That's what we have Jay for. He'll do all the heavy lifting.
I usually
and I'll do all the coattail riding. Yeah.
Well, sorry,
It's like a
you guys
miracle.
know that I do the collective thing. That's kind of the anthology thing, right? So that's the closest thing that's ever really worked.
Right. Exactly. And that's tough too. Anybody that's been, anybody that's been in an anthology or anybody that's tried to run an anthology, it is the toughest. It is tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that talking about herding cats. Ed,
It is.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. I've dealt with comic shops, but you're kind of at this point limited to your geography. So I have shops in Southern California that have stuff out there, but I think I was reading in some of the comments, like a trading card thing at conventions is a good idea. But in the comic shops, I think if nothing else, we can work together and compile the list because there are some shops that you walk in and you say you're indie and there's that stigma that they're going to be like, okay, this shit's going to be sloppy, poorly written. They just kind of look at indie as, turn the nose, put the nose up and like, oh, I don't need anything to do with this. But I think if we can compile a list, so I can say, okay, here's the shops that I've done in Southern California. And then like we were talking about earlier, when we are traveling, if I go to a different state, there's a list out there that we've all shared. And I know, okay, if I'm going to Nashville, which I'm going to be doing the Nashville Comic Con this summer, what are the good shops in Nashville and that surrounding area that I should go to? Which ones should I not bother wasting my time with? And that way I can, since I'm out there doing a con in that area, where can I get books out when I'm actually, when I'm on that trip so that I can leave with some comic shops actually stocking my stuff and expand beyond California because plenty of shops out here have it, but that's it. There's no other states that are stocking my comic book.
So if it's like another state, how are you going to get your money back? Are you just going to give them whatever? Are you going to be like, sell my books? If you make money off them, you're good. Like how
I would give them, in general, you hope that they'll buy them at cost because that's what I offer comic shops is I'll sell you the book at cost and then you can sell it if they want to do the consignment thing. My mom lives out there. I can always tell her, hey, when you sell the book, call her, she'll come and pick up the money. It's a tricky endeavor. Because if they do consignment, I've been fully burned on that where, I know they sold the books because they were sold to people I know and you never see a penny from it, but you hope that, okay, at least it gets a new reader, new eyes on your book. But yeah, it's something I definitely need to explore more, but in the end, how much is it going to benefit me to get it to all these different comic shops if they just kind of sit them on the shelf and let them rot?
I kind of think honestly that like what Travis was talking about earlier is a better game for us. Like rather than getting your book into a shop where people might not ever see it, like wouldn't it be better to spend that time and energy to get them onto your email list where you can have that constant communication with them?
Yes. See, we're talking now two totally different business models, right? There is the direct to consumer, which is getting the people on the email list, and then there is the direct market, all right, where you're moving stuff wholesale. You're generating revenue off of volume as opposed to getting it from the margin, like what we're doing right now. All right, I say this time and time again because it bears repeating. When Valiant resurged and Dinesh was running them, they were arguably top 10, maybe close to the top 5 publishers when they came back out again. All right. And he was saying that 80% of his revenue was coming from 18% of the direct market. That is anywhere between 330 to 360 stores, depending on what the final count is, whether it's over 2,000, over 2,500. All right. I left a lot of room for growth So yes, a lot of stores are not indie friendly, but I think what Calderon is going after is a different mindset, and that is the direct market business model. And not everybody is there, and that's understandable. You know, it's hard enough trying to figure out the direct to consumer. I get that. I mean, I struggle with that too, right? The well-seasoned guys, I know, you know, Travis, you hit those bumps in the road as well, right? But it's just one more thing to think of. If you ever get to that point, right? And Calderon, yes, is there a possibility to do that? Yeah, if somebody is leading the charge, and rather than letting all of the chefs in the kitchen have a say, he comes up with the plan and says, if we can do this to these movie theaters that have these shops that are buying from us, right? To get that local growth out of it, right? Make that targeted demographic in those areas hit, there is an opportunity for that. I mean, something as simple as Chia Pet. I've worked. How many times did you see half that commercial was just one static image of the fucking Chia Pet available at Walgreens, Rite Aid, Dwayne Reed, CVS, right? You're telling me that you can't have a static image in a movie theater where 5 of the shops in that area are buying from you. These books are now available at Jimmy, Brandy, Bobby, Billy, Gina's shops in these locations. And if the folks that are involved in that collective are willing to put up the scratch because somebody else has made the legwork happen to get into those theaters, why not? Why not? We're always looking at different
So
ways.
you're thinking of more of pitching the shops that the indie books would be in to like the movie theaters. Because I was under the impression you're talking.
Don't matter whether you're buying this. If you're spending the money to get pre-roll advertising dollars into their shop, they're going to take it.
As a marketer, you know, one of the strategies that I recommend to a lot of my local people as a, you know, web designer is market to local theaters. You know, when you're sitting there at a theater, you flip that program, you're going to look at it. If you need that service, you're going to talk about that with the person next to you. Like, I'm not talking about movie theater, I'm talking about like regular theaters. And it works the same with movies. You know, if you know that they have a superhero market, the more, you know, the more direct your market is. If you know they have an interest into this geek stuff, the more likely you are to get a sale. And I don't know about your theaters, but all of our theaters, we have 3 local theaters. We have 3 comic stores. Each of them on a superhero movie release night will be at one of those 3 theaters, handing out comics, doing spin things, and promoting stuff.
Yeah, my idea was a little different. It was something like Comic Shop News, which is like a little newspaper that you can pick up in most comic stores. They give it out for free.
That works too.
So, you know, if you imagine you get 10,000 circulars out, 15 different creators, all of them in different parts of the country, going to their local comic shops, dropping them off at like local conventions, you know, dropping off at libraries, places where people read books. You understand? Because for the most part, people go to movies, they're fantastic, but they're not necessarily readers, right? You know, they want to see a movie. They don't necessarily want to read a book. Some of them will, but I don't think it's really that big of a portion of that crowd. But if you have something small, that's something you can just give away to a person, right? Like a small flyer, a circular, something like this, a few pages, somebody can open up and take a look, and maybe everybody has like maybe a 1-page or a half a page ad or a strip where it represents you stuff with a QR code where they can go back, maybe pick up a free comic, drop off their email so you can build up your email list that way. That's what I'm talking about. And imagine if you could do that three times a year. Right. And if you're giving away 10, 15, 20,000 of these, right? That's what I'm talking about.
And it's not unheard of. We know that Randy Zimmerman has talked about it times over, right? That he has had a newspaper out there in Michigan that was totally ad supported. So it is possible. Yeah. But you gotta have the people doing the legwork.
Right.
You gotta have the right people involved. And
so I nominate Jay. He can do all the legwork. Fuck him. You can do all the work.
There you go.
All right. I second your nomination.
There you go. Thank you. Gentlemen, we made it to hour 2. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Travis, please let everybody know where to find you and your work, sir.
You can find me. The best place is travisgibb.substack.com. I do all my updates there, everything. Obviously, look for Coins and Judas on Kickstarter right now. Back it, show your support. These publishing gigs from other people just help level me up so I can help Jay and carry Jay because he needs some help.
Thank
Jay,
you.
JD informs me, hey, JD's always like, hey, I don't want you on the show, but Jay really wants to be associated with you. I know you've already hired me in Cthulhu. Like, I don't need the cred, but Jay could come on for Jay. And I'm like, yeah.
Little bit of that rub, baby. Little bit of that rub. We take it.
All right, awesome. Oh, Ryan, where can they find you in your work, sir?
You can find me at ryankroboth.com before I let it, go away because Wix is trying to charge me a lot more money. But we're going to start moving our stuff over to worsethanmayhem.com, so you can check that out.
Yep.
Nice.
All right, cool. John?
Yeah, you can find me at johnedingfield2nd.com and worsethandmayhem.com.
Cool. Ed?
You can find all of my work under Finish Line Comics on all the different social media platforms. And there right now you can grab Immortal Era 9 and all the back issues if you want them on Kickstarter and for the next 27 days.
Cool. Mike, where can they find you in your work, sir?
Mike Marshall on Facebook. We have War Dance Comics on Facebook as well. If you want to get a hold of Issues Volume 1, it's Indiegogo exclusive. However, it has been closed. You can get a hold of me. I can get you into that. We are going to launch again on Kickstarter later on in the year.
All right, cool. Mr. Rosario?
UnstoppableComics.com. You can find all of my social media links at that website. You can find out what's coming out new from Unstoppable Comics. But I will also be letting you know that on March 23rd, we're going to be launching New York versus the World #3. And next Saturday night, this dude over here is going to be hanging out with me and a few other guys, along with retailer Dimitrios Fragatos, who owns a couple of shops here in New York City, talking about different business channels that independent creators should be looking at.
All right, cool. So, you can find me here most Sunday nights. And you can find me at Kickstarter and all these different places. Just look up JD Calderon. You'll find me. But find me mostly on Kickstarter. Thank you so much for everybody for being here. And just remember, everybody, all these creators are awesome. All of them deserve your support. So go down into the links. Go down into the show notes. There are links to everybody's campaigns. Click those links. Buy those books. Those are awesome books. And don't forget, read more indie comics, especially ours. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Later.
Take care.
Have a good night, everyone.
Peace.